when we set out on the Buddhist path in this Tibetan Buddhist context. There is a lot of emphasis on clear thinking and exposing flaws in our thinking, which, according to, the Buddhist teachings, the root of so many of our human problems. Reflection and contemplation, but then also of meditation. Many of the great scholars in the Nalanda tradition were actually also great yogis, great practitioners. And to illustrate that, there's a famous story about Chandrakirti, one of the greatest well-known philosophers of Nalanda. He was a philosopher of the middle way, or Madhyamika. Madhyamika is the philosophy that helps us apply logic and reasoning, and through this come to see and experience for ourselves a reality that is beyond the dualistic mind, where things are seen as dreamlike or illusory or without an essence. And then one day, according to this story, the monastery needed milk, but there were no cows around. And somehow Chandrakirti managed to find milk, and then curious about where he got the milk, someone followed him around and he eventually found Chandrakirti milking a cow that was painted on the monastery wall. This, of course, illustrates how in the Nalanda tradition, great scholarship leads to great spiritual realization, where this dreamlike reality or dreamlike nature of reality is not just a theory, but actually a lived reality, So there are stories like that to illustrate how actually, according to this Indian Nalanda tradition, great scholarship leads to high levels of spiritual attainment. And this tradition was preserved and continued into Tibet. But then, of course, in that process, Tibetan culture became interwoven with how the Buddhist teachings were transmitted and studied and practiced.